Happy Wednesday from my weird little closet office at Redeemer. Don't know if you heard, but we had our third daughter about 6 weeks ago, little Emmeline Lee, which means that I have 3 little children at home, which means that distractions abound. So this little office in a closet is quiet, and I'm able to accomplish things here. So pardon the chalkboard and outdated sound equipment behind me. This is my reality these days. We find ourselves in a situation where it's really easy to judge people. We have new territory, new opportunities for judging people, right? As I walk around the grocery store doing the shopping for our family these days, I find myself judging people who seem to be intentionally going the wrong way down the aisles. I find myself judging other drivers on the road who are wearing for when they are the only people in the car. I've heard people judging churches for opening too soon or for not being open yet, or judging churches for only allowing 20 people in the sanctuary, or judging churches for not singing as part of their worship. And it seems that no matter what we do, humanity, mankind, finds a reason to judge other people. As I reflect on this tendency in myself and the ways that I see it out in the world around me, it makes me thankful for this little parable that Jesus tells in Luke chapter 18. He says, 2 men went up into the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, prayed like this: God, I thank you that I'm not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all that I get. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but beat his chest, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, Jesus says, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. The thing about judging others is it feels really good, doesn't it? This person is doing this thing, and I can point at them and say they're bad, and I'm not doing it, and therefore I can say I'm good. This story starts where Luke gives us this comment. He says, Jesus told this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and treated others with contempt. And if that's not a description of myself in moments when I find myself judging others, I don't know what is. Those who trusted in themselves that they were righteous, that they were good, that they were justified, and treated others with contempt. And while judging others feels really good, the point of the story that Jesus makes is you're making a bargain here, right? You get one thing or the other. You get that feeling of moral superiority, you get that feeling of they're bad and I'm good, or you get him. Right? Jesus says of the Pharisee and the tax collector that the tax collector goes home justified. The Pharisee trusts in himself that he's righteous, that he's just. But Jesus says he trusts in himself. But I say about the tax collector that he's justified. Jesus says you can either have that feeling of moral superiority and goodness about yourself, or I can give it to you. But the way that I give it to you is that you have to confess that you need it. Right? In this, the tax collector is just like the woman at the well. She doesn't have this encounter with Jesus and then run to town and say, hey, come meet a man who's going to point out everything that's wrong about you guys so that I'll like you more. No, she runs and she says, come meet a man who told me everything I ever did. When our eyes are on other people and how we're better than them, we miss the perfect love and acceptance of Christ. But when our eyes are so fixed horizontally, all we can see is others' faults and our goods, and we miss the great blessing of being connected to Christ, the Good Shepherd, the great physician, the bread of life, the water of life, the resurrection. The good news is that God has grace for those who are judgmental, like you and like me. Thank God for that, because I know I do it. I know I did it today, and I'll probably do it tomorrow, and His grace is sufficient for me. Thanks Hope you guys have a good week.